is sort of the bottom of Diagon Alley. And now behind me there is the Museum of Context. This is obviously the best Harry Potter shop in all of Edinburgh, but it used to be even better. It wasn't a Harry Potter shop in 1993, that would have been weird. It was instead a shop called Robert Cresser's Brush Shop, and they sold and made brooms. So this is our original Quidditch supply store. They had a workshop on the first floor where they made brooms, and then the windows were full of basically Nimbus 2000s.
Hi, this is Hollywood Greg here, and we are on the original Diagon Alley here on Victoria Street, and we got Valley Girl in the background there. She enjoyed the tour. What'd you think of the tour, Valley Girl?
I absolutely loved it.
Yes.
So tell us about your tour. What are people going to expect, and what's the name of the tour?
It's a magical walking tour of Edinburgh. It is the first of its kind. We're the original Harry Potter walking tour, and we will take you to all the most amazing spots in Edinburgh on the Potter Trail. That is the name of our tour.
Where do we find you?
We found us near Greyfriars Kirkyard, and then you find us online to sign up to come, and we'll wander through Greyfriars Kirkyard and all of Old Town to end up on the real Diagon Alley.
We had a fantastic time.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Lovely having you along.
Just work your way down to 3034 Candlemaker Row in Edinburgh and find the small statue of the little cute Skye Terrier. Jump in and get a pint at Greyfriars Bobby and step outside at your tour time to meet your very upbeat Potter Trail tour guide.
Take you around all the most important Harry Potter spots in Edinburgh, the best ones with the best photo opportunities. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be magical the whole way through. You will have been aware that you're going to need a wand on this tour. Now, you don't have to buy the overpriced ones in the official shops. You can literally pick up a stick off the ground. It will work just as well. Or if you're too cool for that, I want you to reach into your pockets, find any lip glosses, water bottles, fingers, umbrellas, small child. If you can lift it, you can wand it. That is our motto at the Potter Trail. I'm seeing a coffee stirrer. Excellent improvisation, madam. Very well done. Whatever you've got will be absolutely fine, and we'll need that roughly halfway through the tour, so you've got time to think. Now, throughout the tour, we're also going to be having a lot of house point questions. There will be a house point competition. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. If you are a child, you will not win this just because you are a child. I want to see everybody putting their hands up in their best Hermione impression anytime a question is asked. The first hand to go up with the right answer will get all the house point glory, and we will not be handing out 100 house points to Harry at the very end for picking his nose. That is not how we roll here. It's going to be a fair and square competition. Let's get through there. But while we are here, I want to show you at the very end of this road, there is a big white stone building with a big dome on the top. And that is actually the headquarters of the Bank of Scotland, our very own Gringotts in Edinburgh. And that is going to be where we're headed to get to Diagon Alley a little bit later. But I think this is the best view of it, framed by all the buildings around. We're going to see a lot of very pretty buildings on this tour. Be prepared for a lot of very old architecture. It's going to be amazing. Alright gang, we are in the graveyard. This is called Greyfriars Kirkyard. As you will have seen, there's a very cute wee dog outside. He has made this graveyard famous by staying by his master's grave for many years afterwards. And then he got a grave of his own when he sadly passed away, and people love to leave sticks on his grave because obviously dogs like sticks more than flowers. But yes, Greyfriars Kirkyard is most known for that wee dog, although recently it has become rather better known for Harry Potter graves, and we are going to be visiting all of them very soon. Now, we believe that this graveyard is actually one very specific graveyard from the books and films. So I'm going to read you a short passage from one of the books. If anyone can identify which book it comes from, I want you to put your hand up. Absolute best Hermione impressions, reach for the sky. And then if you get the right answer, I will award your house 30 house points. This is going to be amazing. Number 1, she was looking at it the entire time she wrote the book. So the cafe that looks over this graveyard, the Elephant House Cafe, is where she wrote books 2, 3, and 4. So she was basically staring at this graveyard the entire time she was writing the 4th book. Tick. All right, the other thing we know is she loved to come and have nice walks in here. It was sort of a quiet oasis in the middle of the city. It is, of course, overrun with Harry Potter nerds like yourselves now, but back in 1993, when J.K. Rowling first arrived in Edinburgh, she was very keen on having little walks in nature to clear her head as she was writing. And when she first arrived in Edinburgh in 1993, she had a daughter with her. She was 6 months old at the time. J.K. Rowling was a recently single mum, and she was sort of trying to make it work however she could. So she said her daughter would only fall asleep if she was being pushed in her pram, her stroller, outside, and then as soon as she fell asleep, Jo would just duck into the nearest cafe, or if it was nice out, she'd write outside. So this was a place she loved to come and push her daughter along, lull her to sleep, and then get to writing. Behind me there's a wee sign here. This is an actual school with actual kids in it.
George Heriot's school in Edinburgh, Scotland, is often considered to be the inspiration for the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry from the Harry Potter books. The school's castle-like building with turrets and Gothic architecture is similar to Hogwarts. Along with its house system, the school has 4 houses: Lauriston, Greyfriars, Rayburn, and Castle, which may have inspired Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and of course, Ravenclaw. Thank goodness Nigel Newton, chief executive at Bloomsbury Publishing, let his young 8-year-old daughter Alice Newton at his stack of manuscripts.
And she picked a book off the kids' pile, as she usually did when she was hanging out at her dad's office, and it happened to be the first 4 chapters of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, if you're wrong. So we've got our book. She reads it and she says, "Dad, this is the best thing I have ever read. You need to publish this." So he did, and then they all made a lot of money. So yes, it became the best-selling English language novel ever. Take that, Bible. Risky standing in a churchyard. I stand by it. I've not been smited yet. But yes, this is our success story that came out of a little girl reading a book at her dad's work one day and seeing the merit that it had. From that point onwards, J.K. Rowling was obviously able to quit her day job. She'd been working at a school as a supply teacher. She actually had registered between the years 1995 and 1996 at Edinburgh University to get a teaching degree so she could be a teacher in the UK, and she was doing that when she was able to quit. Now, we are going to need to find a couple more graves in order to demonstrate that this is one very special graveyard. All right, I think, start strong, the best grave in this whole graveyard. We have the grave of not just one Thomas Riddle, but 2 Thomas Riddles here. So this is the inspiration for Voldemort's Muggle family that he is so ashamed of. He obviously hates that he descends from this very handsome, rich Muggle in the village. He would much rather be a pure blood, but he just isn't. So we're going to say that this is Voldemort's father, and this is his grandfather. Now, the Riddles of Edinburgh were the perfect inspiration for this family because they were known for one thing, and that was their incredible wealth. They owned Riddles Court on the Royal Mile, which is a very fancy residence in town. They also have a very nice stately home just outside of Edinburgh, so the Riddle family are perfect for this. As you can see, some very keen Slytherins have already been today and left us some trinkets and some glitter, so that's nice. Yes, people are very keen to come and pay their respects to the Dark Lord, but obviously some people call this, Tom Riddle's grave, they call it Voldemort's grave. It's not Voldemort's grave, it's Voldemort's father's grave. That is the key point at the end of that 4th book.
Whose grave is this?
This is Tom Riddle's grave, baby.
Tom Riddle's grave.
This is, wow. That's crazy.
We've got Mrs. Elizabeth Moody here, so this is our inspiration for Mad Eye Moody, and this again is a repeat of the thing where the name tells you something about the character. So Moody, obviously, he is emotionally unpredictable. He can be a little bit mean sometimes, quite nice other times. So yes, we have our Moody here, another good Scottish name for a character in the books. Now she adds this symbolism in all over the place. For example, Albus Dumbledore. Albus is the Latin for white, for his long white beard, and Dumbledore is the Old English word for a bumblebee. She said because she imagined him humming to himself in his office as he worked like a little bumblebee, which is very cute. We also have the slightly more hilarious Rubius Hagrid. Now, Rubius is like a ruby red for the color of his face. He's a very jolly man. But Hagrid happens to be the Old English word for being hungover because he likes his wine. This is what we know about Hagrid. And then finally, we get ones that really do smack you in the face with what their sort of underlying personality is, like Remus Lupin, which is basically Wolf, the tale of Romulus and Remus, plus the French translation for Wolf Lupin. We've got Wolf, and it's a wonder it took them an entire school year to realize he was the werewolf. He's scared of the moon, you guys. Put it together. So these are some of the only remaining examples. This one is the original metalwork, that one is a replacement over there. But basically, these were put on top of graves in Edinburgh to stop people from stealing the bodies, because there was a very good surgery school in Edinburgh, almost the best in all of the Western world, and they needed bodies to practice on, and nobody wanted to donate their body to science back in the 1700s. Burke and Hare, this is our next point. So Burke and Hare did not bother digging up. They said it was too much work. Instead, they just created dead bodies in the street, people who it didn't seem like anyone would miss. So they would just murder people in the street and hand those bodies in instead. They were very careful, because if you handed a body in that was very damaged, it was worth much less than one that was pristine. So they had very specific methods. Anyway, so they hand these in. We think that this Burke may be the original Borgin and Burke, because he's got a shop that we're going to see a little bit later. But anyways, these guys were horrible murderers. Now, does anybody, I'm going to add an extra trivia question here, does anybody know the name of Dumbledore's wand? Hands up.
Elder Wand.
There was no hand up, so I'm going to have to go there, yes. The Elder Wand, incredible work. And which house are you in? Hufflepuff are getting their first 20 house points. Rossio meaning red and Lumos meaning light. And the motion for this, you will all know it from your first year charms class. It is a swish and a flick motion. So let's practice that on the count of 3. Rossio Lumos on 3. 1, 2, 3. Rossio Lumos. You will need to be louder than that in town. It's very noisy. I'm going to have to rely on you to amp up the volume there a little bit. Now the sun might be in your eyes. Just shade yourself. Do your best you can and focus on the traffic light. That's what we want. Come on. Spellcasting stance on the count of 3, the loudest Rossio Lumos you can muster. All right, everybody ready? Ones. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Rossio Lumos!
All right. Now, some of you didn't scream it as loud as I did. So you've got one more chance to get another Rossio Lumos out. And if you want to record this for your TikTok, do it. 1, 2, 3.
Rossio Lumos! Good job, baby.
Really ruined the reveal. Now, the fans have made their mark on this cafe. It is sadly closed at the moment due to a fire next door. There was a patisserie there, some croissants got out of control. They haven't quite cleaned up the smoke damage yet, but they are working on it. But the fans have covered the bathrooms in Harry Potter graffiti. So we have Deathly Hallows all over the walls, as well as above one of the toilet bowls, there's an arrow pointing directly into the toilet, and it says, "This way to the ministry." A lot of fun. So yes, we've had our fun there. They are very keen on keeping this memory alive, but sadly it is covered in smoke inside there, so they've had to reopen a new location on Victoria Street where we're headed next, where you can see the actual table where she wrote the books. They managed to get that nice and clean, and they've taken that up there so you can go and see that spot.
Finally, it was time to see the real Diagon Alley.
How is it they know who I am?
I'm not sure I'm exactly the right person to tell you that, Harry. Welcome, Harry, to Diagon Alley.
this lovely bookshop here. And this used to be a bookshop called the Old Bookshop. And it was absolutely chock full of antiquarian first edition books, as well as quills and parchment and all sorts of old-fashioned stationery items. So this, as it claims on the plaque on the right, is the original Flourish and Blots here. Now, if we move down the road a little bit further, we have Walker Slater, which is our custom tailoring shop on this road. It even has the same logo as the custom road makers on Diagon Alley, a big pair of scissors above the owner's name. Now, on Diagon Alley, that is a person's name and then robes for all occasions. Does anyone remember her first name? You know, this is a hard one. It's Madame Malkin. So Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions.
I want to thank Christine, the greatest tour guide in the universe, for making Valley Girl Darlene's Harry Potter dreams come true. Come down to Edinburgh and make your Harry Potter dreams come true as well. Hey, you know you want to watch 2 more videos from Hollywood Greg. Check them out right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hollywood Greg channel. And check us out on social media at Hollywood Greg LA.